Welcome back my YouTube channel Old Coins EE Collection. We're diving into one of South Africa's most fascinating pieces of currency. This coin 1 Rand 1988 coin. You won't believe how much this little coin is worth today. If you're a collector or just getting into the world of rare coins, this video is packed with valuable information that you don't want to miss. Make sure to stick around until the end, where we'll reveal its incredible value. Let's get started. Before we talk about the value, let's go back in time to understand the context of this remarkable coin. The 1 Rand coin was first introduced by South Africa in 1961, and by the time 1988 came around, the country was going through a period of political change and economic challenges. In 1988, South Africa was under the policy of apartheid, a system of institutionalized racial segregation. The rand, however, was not just a currency, it was a symbol of the complex political and economic climate of that era. The South African Reserve Bank issued the 1988 1 Rand coin as part of its ongoing series to replace the older British sterling coins and establish a national currency. The design on the 1988 coin features the famous Springbok antelope, which has been a consistent symbol on South African currency since the 1940s. The Springbok, which symbolizes the country's natural beauty and wildlife, appears on the reverse side of the coin. Let's take a closer look at the coin's design. On the obverse, you'll find the iconic South Africa inscription, along with the year 1988. The reverse side showcases the Springbok antelope, known for its grace and speed, which has become synonymous with South African pride. Notice how the Springbok is elegantly depicted in mid-leap, symbolizing South Africa's untamed natural beauty. Around the Springbok, you'll also find the inscription, 1 Rand, along with the mint mark if you're lucky enough to have one with this rare feature. The edge of the 1988 coin is reeded, which was a common feature in most Rand coins of the time. This was done to prevent people from clipping or shaving off small amounts of precious metal, a technique sometimes used by those looking to profit from coinage. Now, let's talk about rarity. Not all 1 Rand coins are created equal. The value of any coin is highly dependent on its condition. For collectors, the grade or condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its worth. If you have a 1 Rand 1988 coin that is in mint or near mint condition, it's significantly more valuable. Coins that have been preserved in pristine condition, free from scratches, discoloration, or wear and tear, are highly sought after in the numismatic world. Coins with errors or anomalies, such as misprints or misstrikes, also have a special place in the world of coin collecting. These types of coins, though rare, can fetch astronomical prices at auctions or with private buyers. Now for the exciting part. How much is the 1 Rand 1988 worth today? In 1988, the 1 Rand coin was simply worth 1 Rand. But today, its value has skyrocketed, especially for those in mint or perfect condition. If you're fortunate enough to have one in a pristine, uncirculated state, you might be looking at a value of up to $54,543 now. Let's break it down. A coin that's been kept in excellent condition can fetch a price of anywhere from $50 to $60,000, depending on the specifics. However, the real jackpot comes with those ultra-rare specimens, the ones with unique flaws or even the limited edition coins that were minted with slight differences. These rarities are what draw the attention of the highest bidders. So, how do you know if your 1 Rand 1988 coin is worth a small fortune? First, you'll want to closely examine the coin for wear. If the details on the Springbok are still sharp and distinct, and the surface doesn't show significant signs of use, you might have a winner. Next, consider getting your coin professionally graded. A grading company, such as PCGS or NGC, can assess your coin's condition and give it a certification that will increase its credibility and value on the market. Finally, be aware of the market. Coin values fluctuate depending on demand, the current economy, and the latest auctions. If you have a rare coin, holding on to it might be a good idea if you want to maximize your return in the future. If you're new to coin collecting or you're considering starting your own collection, there's no better time than now. Begin by looking at coins that interest you, whether they are rare, historic, or simply have a design that appeals to you. Coins like the 1 Rand 1988 make great starting points. They're part of South African history, they have unique designs, and their value is steadily rising. If you'd like to dive deeper into this hobby, there are plenty of resources and communities out there to help guide you on your journey. Well, there you have it, folks. The one ran 1988, a small coin with a big history. This coin 1988 South African 2-cent coin. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this little coin might just be sitting on a fortune. Let's take a close look at this 1988 2-cent coin. This was part of the final series of South African coins minted before the country underwent significant political and social changes. But what makes this coin so special, and why could it potentially be worth a jaw-dropping $2 million? Well, let's take a journey through its history, its rarity, and its potential value. Before we dive into the specifics of the coin itself, let's first set the stage. The 1988 2-cent coin was minted during a very interesting time in South Africa's history. The country was still under apartheid rule, and this period would end just a few years later in 1994 with Nelson Mandela's release. The coin was issued by the South African Reserve Bank and features a design that reflects the flora of the region. On the obverse side, we see the iconic springbok, antelope, which has been a symbol of South Africa for decades. The reverse features the denomination, 2C, and an intricate design of a protea, a national flower of South Africa. So, what's the deal with the 1988 2-cent coin? What makes it worth so much? Well, it all comes down to rarity and condition. This coin was minted in much smaller numbers than you might expect, and today, finding one in mint or uncirculated condition is extremely rare. Coin collectors often look for specific traits that can drive up the value of a coin, such as its rarity, demand, and condition. A coin that is well preserved, with no signs of wear, scratches, or damage, is typically worth far more than one in poor condition. Now, how rare is this coin really? Well, there were only about 2.5 million of these coins minted in 1988. But what makes this even more interesting is that a lot of these coins were actually removed from circulation over time. Many of them were damaged or lost, and as a result, very few are still in good condition today. Coins in pristine or near-mint condition, especially those that are uncirculated or graded as MS65 or higher, can fetch astronomical prices at auctions. In fact, a few rare specimens of the 1988 2-cent coin have been known to reach values close to $2 million. Now, let's talk about how you can identify whether your 1988 2-cent coin is valuable. Coin grading is the process of evaluating a coin's condition based on its appearance. There are different systems for grading, but one of the most popular is the Sheldon scale, which rates coins from 1 to 70. To give you an idea, a coin graded MS65 means it's in near-perfect condition basically. A coin that's been preserved so well, it might as well have just been minted yesterday. Coins like that can be worth exponentially more than those with scratches, discoloration, or other imperfections. But here's something really important to know. With the potential for such high value, counterfeit versions of the 1988 2-cent coin have made their way into the market. So, how can you tell the difference between a genuine coin and a fake? One way to tell is by using a magnet. Real South African 2-cent coins are made from a copper-plated steel, which is magnetic. Fakes, however, might be made of other metals that don't have the same magnetic properties. Another important method is using a magnifying glass to inspect the fine details of the coin, looking for signs of wear or differences in the strike. Whether you have a single 1988 2-cent coin or an entire collection, there's a huge potential for valuable finds in your stash. A little research, combined with careful inspection and coin grading, can help you determine whether your coins are just regular change or potentially priceless treasures. So, if you have a 1988 South Africa 2-cent coin, or if you're thinking about starting a collection, remember that it's not just about the coins you have in hand, it's also about knowing the history. This coin 1988 10-cent coin from South Africa, let's find out why. Let's start with the history. The South African 10-cent coin has seen several design changes over the decades. In 1988, South Africa was still under apartheid, and this era produced coins that would later become highly collectible. The 10-cent coin from this period features two protea flowers, a symbol of beauty and diversity, and on the obverse, the portrait of Jan van Riebeeck, a controversial historical figure. What makes 1988 unique? Well, the mintage that year was relatively high, but there are whispers of rare mint errors and proof versions that never made it to circulation. These hidden gems are what collectors go crazy for. Let's zoom into the design. The coin is made of nickel-plated copper, with a reeded edge and a weight of 2 grams. The protea flowers on the reverse are delicately engraved, showing South Africa's national pride. On the obverse is the South African coat of arms or a portrait, depending on the series. Look closely, certain 1988 coins have visible differences in font spacing, flower details, or date alignment. These minor variations can boost the value dramatically, especially if confirmed by experts. Now let's talk money. Why is this coin reportedly worth $87,880? Some versions of the 1988 10-cent coin have been classified as error coins, meaning something went wrong during minting. Examples include double die strikes, off-center errors, or even the wrong planchet type. A verified 1988 error coin or proof strike, especially one that's in mint condition, can sell for tens of thousands of dollars at auction. One such coin, listed at $87,880, drew massive attention on collector forums. Though you must always verify these prices with real auction results. Most 1988 10-cent coins are only worth face value or a few dollars, but if you have one in near-perfect condition, it's time to get it graded. Coin grading services like PCGS or NGC can confirm whether you've got something special. If your coin has a rare mint error, it's a game changer. Auction houses and collectors often pay premium rates for authenticated rarities. I always recommend checking eBay, heritage auctions, and local numismatic dealers to compare prices. Remember, condition is everything. A minor scratch can reduce value significantly. Keep your coins in airtight capsules and handle them with care. Some of our viewers have sent in their amazing finds, including a 1988 10-cent coin with a misaligned die that could be worth over $500. If you have a 1988 10C coin, comment below or send a photo to our email. You could be featured in the next video. Let's build a community that helps each other uncover hidden treasures. So, is your 1988 South African 10-cent coin history? This coin, South African 1988 5-cent coin, was issued as part of South Africa's coin series in the late 1980s. But what makes this particular coin stand out so much? Well, it's not just because of the date. It's a combination of factors like its design, historical significance, and, of course, its rarity. On the obverse side of the coin, we see a portrait of Jan van Riebeeck, who was a key figure in South Africa's colonial history, credited with establishing the first European settlement at the Cape of Good Hope in 1652. This portrait has been a common feature on South African coins for decades. It's a nod to South Africa's deep-rooted history, which collectors appreciate. On the reverse side, we see the iconic protea flower, the national flower of South Africa, and the denomination 5C for 5 cents. The design represents the country's natural beauty and its rich flora, which also adds to the appeal of this coin for collectors. Now, let's take a step back and look at the history behind the 5-cent coin itself. The South African 5-cent coin was first introduced in 1961, replacing the earlier smaller denominations of the pre-1961 South African currency system. In 1988, the country was going through significant political and social changes, which adds another layer of historical significance to this particular coin. In the late 1980s, South Africa was at a crossroads in its history. With the apartheid system still in place, though change was on the horizon. So, when the South African Reserve Bank minted the 1988 5-cent coin, it was not just a piece of currency, it was part of the fabric of a nation in transition. Now, let's talk about the minting of the 1988 5-cent coin. While this coin wasn't initially considered rare or special when it was first produced, its rarity and value have increased over time. The South African Mint produced a significant number of coins in 1988, but there were some interesting variations that began to catch the eyes of collectors. Interestingly, most of the 1988 5-cent coins were minted with a standard finish, but there were a few limited-run coins with specific errors or variations that significantly raised their value. These errors could range from slight misprints on the coin's edge to slight variations in the design elements. And of course, a coin with such a unique history becomes a highly sought-after collectible. Now, let's get to the exciting part, the value. While a typical 1988 5-cent coin is worth just a few cents today, there are certain rare examples of this coin that have sold for incredible prices. One of these coins, with a specific error or rare minting, fetched a whopping $43,230 at auction. How did it get this high? Well, the combination of rarity, historical significance, and demand among collectors drove the price up. When you add a unique feature, like a minting error or a coin that was kept in pristine condition over the years, the value can skyrocket, especially when only a few are known to exist. So, how do you spot a valuable 1988 5-cent coin? The key is to look for imperfections or unique features that make it stand out. Let me walk you through a few things to check for. First, check the edges of the coin for any errors in the minting process. Misalignments, incorrect inscriptions, or unintentional designs can sometimes occur. Next, inspect the coin for any signs of unusual wear. Coins in mint or near mint condition will command a premium. Now that you know how valuable a coin like this can be, what if you're just starting out in the world of coin collecting? Don't worry, I've got you covered. Here are a few tips to help you build your collection and potentially discover coins like this one. And that wraps up today's video on the incredible South African 1988 5-cent coin, worth up to $43,230. Who would have thought that such a small coin could carry such a big value? History__right. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Old Coin ZE Collection for more fascinating coin stories.